Hi, I'm Michelle Rupp, host of AFMC TV. Thank you for joining us. AFMC TV is a place to consider as a healthcare hub. AFMC is a healthcare nonprofit. We specialize in making our lives, businesses, and communities healthy. This space was created to share information with the community. You'll hear from healthcare experts on a broad range of topics. Medical topics like immunizations and telehealth, to lifestyle topics like strengthening a routine or keeping your family hydrated. Our promise to you is to keep you informed in a digital way, providing useful information to you and your family. Again, thank you for joining us and welcome to AFMC TV. About the vaccine. In the next hour, we will
very hard thing.
That this failure will provide ideas
And also make sure
Hello and welcome into this week's edition of AFMC TV. We're so glad you joined us. Today's show is going to be centered around the men in our lives. And today we're going to kick things off with Dr. Byron Kurtner to discuss with us some topics, or one of the topics being men's health. Good morning. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
So men, generally kind of difficult to get them to get those checkups.
Sure.
Why is that?
Well, if you don't understand men, you're just thinking too hard.
Well, I guess that's what it is.
Men just aren't smart. I mean, we just make bad decisions. That's all there is to it.
A few have made some good decisions.
Yeah, in general. Yeah.
So how do we even start that conversation? I mean, guys know they probably need to go to the doctor, right? I mean,
Yeah, I think everybody, at least over 40 and certainly over 50, ought to make an effort to just go to see the doctor once a year when they don't have anything wrong. You may have been and seen the doctor for a sprained ankle or a cold or something, but generally your provider doesn't have time to do the health maintenance and the preventive things you need. So once a year, you ought to show up and just, have him go over you, have him be sure that you're caught up on the preventive things that you need to have done.
And is that something that can be accomplished just with seeing your primary care?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what primary care doctors do. But it is important to go for a physical, for a health maintenance physical that's for that reason.
So when you even broach the subject with a male about going to the doctor, it's, oh, I'll do that later, or nothing's hurting, I feel fine. What is it about the white coat or the blue coat that makes them so resistant?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. I have a good answer for that. And I think it's probably different for different people. Sure. And it's not just men, it's women too. Some people are busy, some people are scared of the doctor, and sometimes it's a cost thing. So it's different things for different people. I don't think it's a one size fits all.
Okay. How can we reduce some of that hesitancy or anxiety and just go? Just go get checked out. It's going to be okay.
I think it's important to keep in mind that you don't have to do anything you're uncomfortable with. Some people don't go to the doctor because I don't want this done or I don't want that done. I think it's really important to remember that if you tell the doctor up front, this is something that I've made the decision that I don't want, that the doctor will respect that. So if you go in with the idea that I don't have to do anything I don't want to, sometimes that'll make it a little easier.
Sure. I know there are certain milestones, particularly when you start to age in terms of 40, maybe 45, 50, some preventative screenings that men need, that they might need to see someone other than a primary care physician, correct?
Well, generally, primary care physicians are in the business of preventive medicine and health maintenance. And so certainly you may very well want to have a colonoscopy at 50 or even younger, depending on your medical history. And of course, that will probably be done by a specialist, a gastroenterologist. If you have an elevated screening test for prostate cancer, then certainly you probably want to go to see a urologist. But the screening and the scheduling for health maintenance can be done through your primary care provider. That's a big part of what they do. So going to your primary care doctor is a good place for a first start for a preventive maintenance exam or a health maintenance exam.
So take me through what would a primary care, what would one of those screenings look like coming from your primary care physician?
I think it's different for every doctor. Some are very formal. I know some doctors have a formal process that everybody goes through, a protocol that everyone does. Most of us just generally scheduled people for a little extra time. When I was in practice, I usually scheduled my physicals first thing in the morning, and it gave us an opportunity to go over someone's past medical history, get some routine lab, and go ahead and see what issues they needed to address. Some people had already had their colon cancer screening, some people hadn't, just to make sure they're up on everything. So in my practice, it was a little more of an informal talk.
Mm-hmm. So it's nothing to be scary. You're gonna listen to their heart. You
Absolutely.
might take a little blood,
and
check those cholesterol levels.
And certainly you would try to talk the patient into taking a little blood. Occasionally someone says, I don't want that. And that's perfectly okay as long as they understand, if they make an informed decision, they don't want lab done, then that's up to them.
Sure. I love the idea of just having that baseline,
Yeah,
and then we
absolutely.
don't have to worry about it for a year. We may never have to worry about it, but at least we know where we're starting from, right?
Exactly right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any last parting thoughts to our gentlemen who may be watching that in the back of their mind, they're thinking, yeah, I know, I should really go have this done.
Yeah, and some things are very, very important, but they're not urgent, so we tend to put them off till it's too late.
Yeah.
It's something that we all need to do, and I'm overdue myself, so I need to do it. I need to do it too.
And by and large, insurance covers this, right?
Oh yes, nearly all insurance covers.
Okay, so you're not really talking about a lot of out-of-pocket, if any.
For most people, no.
Yeah, okay. All right. Dr. Kurtner, thanks so much for stopping by today.
Thanks for having me.
Get that appointment.
I'm going to.
Trey Reed with the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission joins me today. Trey, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
It's good to, we're talking hunting, and it's starting to feel a little, well, maybe it's not starting to feel a little like hunting season. It's mid-September, so that's right. It's going to get there. It's going to get there. Probably the first question I have is, what are some of the things that hunters need to know that might be new this season?
Yeah, not a lot has changed since last season, but, a couple of things that I would remind hunters about. Deer hunting is by far the most popular activity in Arkansas. We're just a couple of weeks away from archery deer season opening. Dove season actually opened a couple of weeks ago. Muzzleloading season, and then modern gun season in early November. So we kind of, there's kind of this progression and step up in our deer hunting season. But probably the big thing that I would remind hunters about is, we do have chronic wasting disease that's been detected in the state's deer herd. And for those that aren't familiar with it is a fatal neurological disease that affects members of the deer family. In Arkansas, that means elk and white-tailed deer. It was first identified in a captive herd in Colorado in the late 60s. And so endemic, we think, to kind of the Mountain West, Colorado, Wyoming, but it started showing up. One of the first times it was found in the East was in Wisconsin in the early 2000s. And Arkansas, we found it in 2016. And so, there's no evidence that it can pass to humans, but because of some research that's been done, they have demonstrated that a primate can get it. And because of the issues with mad cow disease in the UK and Canada back, probably 15, 20 years ago now, it's in the same family of diseases. It's so it is that mad cow is bovine spongiform encephalopathy. I hate to get all technical, but so this is sort of the version that affects members of the cervid family. Again, deer and elk in Arkansas. It is really an insidious disease that it can persist in the soil, can be taken up by plants. So it's a challenge for our white-tailed deer management in Arkansas for the past 5 years. But yeah, I would highly encourage people to have their animal tested just to be safe and have that peace of mind.
Well, on that happy note, are there any new licensing
Yeah, no, I mean, not so much with licensing. We haven't really changed anything. We have, over the past couple of years, had some changes to non-resident access on our wildlife management areas for waterfowl hunting. Places like Biomeda, Dave Donaldson, Black River up in northeastern Arkansas. But those have been in place a couple of years, and most folks have, I think, become accustomed to that.
So if you're a first-time hunter, what's that one or two things you need to know?
Yeah, I mean, number one, have your license on you. Get your license. You'd be surprised at how many times our wildlife officers encounter people that don't have their license with them. They have ways to look it up, and they usually issue a warning ticket. One thing, it's relatively new, Michelle, but we've been doing it for a few years. Their paper licenses are kind of a thing of the past. Now, you can buy your license online and print out a license, but most folks now are just carrying either a photograph of that or a downloadable PDF on their phone. So it makes it real easy and convenient for folks to carry their license that way. Hey, you can board an airplane, with your phone, buy a cup of coffee at Starbucks, and now you can have your hunting and fishing license on it.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. If you are an old-timer hunter that you've been hunting all your life, still, what do you need to know?
Well, understand what. I guess the main thing I would say is to be safe. I mean, the safety message, I don't want to sound preachy, but, always positively identify your target. Don't go onto other people's land that's not yours. I mean, you'd be surprised. We still have a lot of, we have to write some citations for that sort of thing. Going back to your question about new hunters, one thing I would like to point out are resources that are available to everybody. Whether you're a new hunter or an experienced hunter that's maybe going to a new area or taking up a different kind of hunting than you've done in the past, we just have a wealth of resources at Game and Fish, not only at our website, agfc.com, but throughout the state. We have 9 nature and education centers across Arkansas, from the one in downtown Little Rock to our newest one in Springdale, the JB and John L. Hunt Family Ozark Highlands Nature Center. They're not only, I think a lot of people look at those as a place to go look at exhibits and things like that, but we offer just all kinds of classes. I mean, some geared to like young hunters, some geared to female hunters, so they can go in and maybe a non-threatening atmosphere with other women to learn new skills. And then some that are for everybody. But if you want to learn how to crappie fish, if you want to learn how to hunt deer with a bow and arrow, say you're a rifle hunter or a muzzleloader hunter and you want to learn bow hunting, we have that. We have just an incredible number of resources at Game and Fish, and we've got a great new events calendar at agfc.com that tells you where they are. You can filter it by distance from where you live, by your particular interest. And Michelle, it's not just hunting. I mean, we're talking hiking, paddling, good places to go out and watch
fishing.
Birds. Anything.
Birds. Yeah. All right. Well, Trey, that is great information, and I really had no idea just what all is offered with Game and Fish.
Yeah,
and at your website.
We have been, and rightly so, known as an agency that is about hunting and fishing.
Sure.
But our mission is to protect the resources of Arkansas, and more so than that, to connect people to those resources. Because the more people that care about our natural resources and our natural world and our environment here in Arkansas, the more support that we have for conservation issues, and the greater chance we have to preserve these incredible resources for future generations.
And it's a beautiful state, so
we don't call it the natural state for nothing.
You got that right. Trey, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, Michelle.
Now let's join Jamie and JJ Mayo in the kitchen for a cheesy bacon dip recipe that would be great for tailgating this weekend.
So what we've got for you is a cool dip recipe that I know you're going to love. It's going to be great whether you're tailgating at the game or you're bringing people over for a watch party to root on your favorite team. So the name of this dip is called what?
Cheesy bacon dip.
Cheesy bacon dip. And so let's get to it, you guys.
Okay, everybody, we're back. I have cleaned my hands. That's always the first thing we do. I want to show you all the 5 ingredients that we're going to use. I have a tablespoon of ranch. I have a 1/4 cup of mayonnaise. I have a block of cream cheese, I have a cup of shredded cheese and bacon. And there's no measurement to the bacon because, frankly, I don't think you can ever have too much.
And this is really a great dip because these are things that most of the time you have around the house.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You bet. You know, one of the things I always hear about is mayonnaise. Is it healthy? Is it not healthy? We kind of designed this recipe to be a crowd pleaser and low carb. So if you wanted to do Greek yogurt, or if you wanted to do sour cream, those are always options in place of mayonnaise, or you can do those in addition to the mayonnaise as well.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you never can go wrong with a recipe that has bacon in it. I don't know about you guys.
And cheese.
And cheese and bacon. There you go.
Yep, cheese and bacon. So here y'all can see we've thrown them all in there. Just gonna mix this up.
And what would you use to dip this with? What would you put?
Oh, that's a good question. What would y'all use if you were making a dip like this? And your finger is not one of the options.
I know in the past we've done, obviously, typical Doritos, chips work.
Yep.
You could use veggies.
Yeah, veggies is always a good one.
Yep.
Celery, carrots, broccoli, cauliflower.
You know, if you're doing low carb, you might want to use some, we call them pork skins or
pork rinds.
Yep, that would work too. So just a lot of variety in how you can dip this.
Okay, can y'all see that?
Easy peasy. All right.
Hey everybody. Okay, so to finish this up, I want to tell a couple of quick tips. One, just remember this is a cold dip, but if you wanted to change things up, you could throw it in a pie plate, toss it in the oven, and warm it up. It's really good. Sprinkle some cheese on top. So now you have a hot, cheesy bacon dip. The second thing you can do is take some jalapenos, cut the tops, wear gloves, take those seeds out, put a little bit of this dip in the middle, wrap it with bacon, and now you've got poppers. And the last thing that's such a great idea for your family is to toss some chicken in there, put in the oven, and you've got a cheesy chicken bacon casserole.
I know that's hard to say.
It is a lot. It is a mouthful. But so some great options: cold dip, hot dip, poppers, and casserole. We hope y'all have enjoyed that. It's so great. It's so easy. Give it a try and let us know how it goes.
That sure looks good. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We look forward to seeing you back here next week for more AFMC TV.